Yes, hi, hello, good. It's a questions and answer video, and the first question today comes from Fuzzy Gross, who would like to know, and we're diving into this one nice and early, right?
Yes.
Gotta get it off our chests. Do you feel that AEW went too far with the Danielson ending and the Swerve versus Hangman match? Yeah, a lot of words have been said about the violent themes on this AEW pay-per-view, all out last weekend. How do you feel about them, Adam?
Look, nothing against, was it Fuzzy Grove?
Fuzzy Gross.
Nothing against, thank you, Gross, thank you for your question. This is nothing against you. But God, am I sick and tired of having this argument. Yeah. No, it's entirely up to them. They've talked about previously the fact that they've considered that bag angle before. Eddie Kingston has pitched it, and they've gone, no, it's not appropriate. I think they've done all they can in terms of saying, obviously, this is so far, too far, that we're not even going to show it again. And, Hangman Page and Swerve invaded each other's houses and threatened their children, then burned their childhood home down. So I don't think there was ever a line that they were going to cross in their match. And also, it's not like they do this in every single match or every single week. I'm just so sick and tired of people suddenly pearl clutching for something that clearly is a unique set of circumstances.
Yeah, for sure. I have two answers to this question. Number one is drink some cement and harden the F up. And answer number two is, look, if you don't like it, just don't watch. It's
exactly,
really
yes.
It's really simple. To me, right, AEW, and I said this on a couple of videos yesterday, but we'll go over it again because it is like the big talking point of the week, for better or worse. AEW should absolutely be a product where this kind of stuff can happen. They should not do it every week. They should not do it every month. They should not do it on every pay-per-view, because then it becomes normal. Then it becomes, you become overstimulated, and it kind of loses a bit of meaning.
And you do get into the whole, how do you top this? Like they have to keep escalating.
You're going to have to murder someone.
Yes.
When you get to the end of it. And you could argue that those were attempted murders on the pay-per-view. But this should be a wrestling promotion where this kind of stuff can happen, because AEW desperately needs to differentiate itself from WWE. When it tried to be more like WWE with increased sports entertainment angles last year, that's when the decline started. That's when the ratings started dropping off steeper and the ticket sales started going down. When you try and be squeaky clean, super lovely Marvel wrestling promotion, you know what you end up as? You try to copy Marvel, you try to do what they're doing with their movies, you end up as DC a few years ago, and that's not a place you want to be. You come off second rate, you come off like a copycat act, especially in this era where millions of people are so satisfied by WWE. Why would you go for something that is ostensibly the same? You need to differentiate yourself, and if that means becoming more of an adult, maybe an edgy, violent TV show, go for it.
Yeah, exactly. They're the alternative, like you say, Andy. They are not going to, especially right now, they are not going to beat WWE. So why try and emulate them in an attempt to beat them, like you say? Have we not learnt from history, TNA being a perfect example of this, that if you're just the watered down version or if you're the alternative to WWE, be an alternative.
Yeah.
And also, just one final point on this, people suddenly saying, oh my God, did you see what happened at All Out? My kids can't watch this. Right, how many times has stuff like this happened previously, or what are you suddenly shocked about on a show that weekly TV people get busted open left, right and centre? And let's not forget, as we often like to talk about in the office, Eddie Kingston tried to kill everyone with fire a while back.
Yeah.
This is not suddenly, whoa, Peppa Pig's gone really out of hand here.
They did that exploding barbed wire death. I know it ended in farce, but they did an exploding barbed wire death. Yeah, it was wonky.
But yeah, they've done a lot, not a lot worse, but they've done a lot in a similar vein in terms of this should not be suddenly, Jesus, my 8-year-old can't watch this now.
This is it. Just don't water it down. I mean, every parent, just make a choice based on what you think is best for your kids. I personally, I don't care. I don't care if kids can't watch it, because I'm not a kid and I'm not a parent, and I never will be, because I made that life choice. But just, we all get a little bit too carried away with this stuff, I think. There is definitely, I don't think this question comes from a place of bad faith. But there is definitely a performative aspect to a lot of it. I would just say that if it's too violent, you don't like those themes, those images, cool, don't watch it. It's fine. Not everything is... The idea that everything has to be for everyone is happy, clappy, polyphonic spree nonsense. Niche products are good.
Yes.
And if you're good at them, you should lean into it. There we go.
Yeah,
That's it.
I have a 1-year-old son, and I would not sit him down and just be like, well, let's both see what happened at All Out together then. I'd sit him down with his bottle of Prime, and I'd say, let's watch NXT, because we know that's a reliable, definitely not dodgy, to show kids product. Right, let's move on to our second question of the day. It comes from the boss. Not Bruce Springsteen, I'm talking about Dynamite Kid 1001, who said, should the Bloodline 2.0 get a new wise man, and who should it be, as Solo is not great on the mic?
So I said this the other day, I'm going to say it again. This is my most fed-pilled take, probably ever. Yes, Solo Sikoa is kind of rubbish. I think that's a good thing.
Yes.
I think that Solo Sikoa isn't the most compelling on-mic presence and isn't the most dynamic in-ring performer, and looks a bit silly in those suits, doesn't carry himself as like the room-filling force that is Roman Reigns. I think that's a good thing, because the storyline is that he kind of sucks, and he's wearing a costume.
He's the pretender to the throne, isn't he?
Exactly. He's wearing a costume of the tribal chief. He is not living as the tribal chief. And in the end, Roman's going to prove that right by beating his ass.
Yes.
So I wouldn't necessarily add a mouthpiece. He's doesn't cut the best promo every week, but in the end, the story is going to be he's worse than Roman Reigns. So
yes.
I'm okay with it, actually.
And they sort of do have a wise man who, if I remember rightly, is quite good on the mic. I'm talking about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, of course. So if you're worried about promos in the build to WrestleMania and all the fallout of Bloodline versus Bloodline 2.0, I think they'll be fine on that front.
I don't know why. I just like Dwayne Johnson, man. Fast forward to WrestleMania, please.
Nicholas? Okay. Next question.
Yeah, we should go away from Dwayne.
Never, ever, ever. I love this man.
I want that to happen.
No.
Well, we might see it when he beats.
Better get used to that face.
Yeah.
Taking the title off Cody, ladies and gentlemen.
He's beating Cody and then he's vacating that belt, brother. It's gonna be.
He's not gonna look as grumpy as he just said. Cheer up a bit, Dwayne. Hey, that's better.
I was going to say that looks like me when you have to make me review NXT 2.0. Well, more on NXT later, actually.
Yes.
Our next question comes from Joshua Jones, who gets Swole Jones. Good advice, Josh. Good advice. Do you think that AEW will keep leaning into being the counterculture? I almost said this, see you next Tuesday. Is NXT, is AEW, blah, blah, blah. But no, do you believe that AEW will keep leaning into being the counterculture?
All right, yeah.
Alternative to WWE's mainstream, like we saw it All Out? And if so, will there be a course correction as far as the interest in getting their base back? Yeah, so we've talked about like the more violent themes and stuff like that. From a business standpoint, do you think that'll help them?
Yeah, I just think it's one of those. I saw a great tweet about this from one Andy H. Murray, all about how
He's a see you next Tuesday.
Don't try and cater to everyone, because it's not even like necessarily trying to copy WWE. If you're just trying to be like, oh, we do this and we do this and we do this, it's like, well, how would then someone describe that product to someone else to want to sell them on it? Because it's just like a little bit of everything. And I love a mixed grill or something like that, a little bit of everything.
Oh, you can eat buffet?
But I wouldn't have it every single meal. No, I wouldn't have it every single meal. I'm just going to pass it over to you, because I think you absolutely nailed this in terms of, they cater to a specific audience, and if other people don't like it, that's fine.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. As long as business-wise you are doing like well enough to exist.
Yeah.
Right? Who cares if the audience is 600,000 a week? Why does it need to be 1 million?
Yeah.
Why do you need to appeal to the consumer A, B, C, D, E, F, G, who all like completely different things and all of this stuff? It's like I think, and look, this is me. I'm a bit of a contrarian. I don't know if you've noticed this about me. I'm a bit of a contrarian, right? But I personally believe that in every single art form, be it music, TV, movies, whatever, wrestling, that the version that is created for the most people is the least compelling, because it doesn't niche down. It focuses on too many things at once, and it becomes this big glossy thing that never goes fully all in on whatever. That's why I listen to music that sounds like a toaster being thrown down the stairs.
That's what I was about to say. If, Devil's Arse or whoever decided to release like a pop record, you'd be like, oh, what's this? I don't like this. I listened to them for a specific reason.
Yeah, if Orange Goblin go dubstep, I'm all the way out. I'm all the way up, baby.
We did a crossover with Skrillex.
But yeah, to kind of circle back, yeah, I do think, because AEW, when it focused more on being a true alternative and being a true challenger brand, it was growing in 2021 and 2022 for periods. So Yeah, I do think that getting back to that will help them. You have to actually be an alternative. You can't just copy WWE's homework.
Yeah, exactly. Anthony Ramos gives us our next question today, and thank you, Anthony, for this. With the BCC turning on Danielson, do you think he assembles a new team to face off with Mox? If Darby Allin isn't involved, does he side with Mox, Bryan, or fly solo?
Yeah, I mean, this one is going after Dynamite, so some parts of that could be answered,
yes.
But I can't imagine Danielson will just rock up with an army of dudes or anything like that. I think that Jon Moxley in particular needed a big refresh, and I think this story has the potential to do it. I like the idea of Bryan Danielson fighting solo, actually. I'm really into the idea of this. One of my favourite movie tropes, actually, is like the old battered, beaten up dude making one last stand before going out on his shield, like Boromir in Lord of the Rings. Your favourite film, of course. I like that. I think that's really compelling. Like the guy who's just falling apart, but he's so full of heart.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of Danielson going a bit solo on this. As far as Darby goes, man, that's going to be such a fun little tale of loyalty.
Fun diversion, isn't it? Yeah, from this.
I could see him going down the Danielson side purely from the standpoint of I think they want to keep him face because he's so over.
I think the whole point of what we preceded this with is Mox going to try and be like, come and join our gaggle of bastards, basically. And Darby's going to be like, no.
I don't wear white t-shirts, John.
You seen who my dad is? It's Sting. So, no, I don't think he's gonna join them. But yeah, I also don't think necessarily he needs to be like, yeah, Team Bryan. He should just arguably be, no, I want Bryan to be fully fit to when I face him at Grand Slam. It's a fair fight, and I want to beat the best version of Bryan Danielson. I think Wheeler Yuta may well side with Bryan Danielson, understandably. I thought that was a nice wrinkle to add to it. I loved the bit with Pac, and shout out to, I think it was Jeff Raidmaker, who was in our chat yesterday when we talked about All Out, saying you should have seen Pac's face. He looked like a sociopath just holding back Wheeler Yuta. So I think he's going to be maybe on the side of Bryan Danielson. But yeah, you don't need Team Bryan versus Team Mox necessarily.
No, it doesn't need to be Survivor Series, does it?
But
I mean, there is probably a way of doing that and making it really compelling. I'm just a sucker for the old gunfighter going out with one last stand. I think it's really fun.
And unless, of course, Bryan Danielson wants to add one more person to the group, and that would, of course, be Bronson.
Bronson, legend of the bulking game. Let's move on to our next question of the day. This comes from Jim Blade, aka the arse formerly known as Jimmy Blade. If you could poach, I like this, any WhatCulture presenter from another channel and inject them with the needed knowledge and interest for the wrestling channel, who would it be and Sai? I mean, why? Yeah, I love having Sai on the channel. She's a very busy woman, folks. She's got lots to do on the gaming, so we don't get her often, but when we do, as with yesterday's quiz, it's always a good time.
Yeah, it's not fair to pick Sai because she knows her stuff. So I'm not going to choose her. I'm going to choose someone. It's sort of cheating because he's sort of getting into it and now popping off the occasional take. Scott Telford loves AEW, so I'll give him a mention, but I'd pick Josh Brown every day of the week.
Nice, yeah.
He's getting into wrestling, and especially now, sometimes you go to show him something, he's like, oh yeah, don't worry, I've already seen all that.
Yeah.
And the passion, obviously, he brings to gaming, I think he'd be great on the wrestling team.
He's also the star of the quiz video as well, particularly with regards to the last episode.
He knows a bit, it's something up there.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I love everyone, so can we just, like, that's such a non-answer, but like, everyone's good, so. Sean
Ferrick as well. I'm going to give a shout out to him. He's very passionate about Trek stuff, and I feel like if he brought that to the wrestling game, wrestling team, he'd be awesome. Shout out to Sean.
I'd actually like to show you and Patterson some death matches as well.
We did it years ago, didn't we? We showed him just random wrestling clips, and he's always so funny when he reacts to them.
Wrestling is such an alien world. I love bringing anyone into it and going, hey, look at this freak show. Look at this weird stuff.
Next question comes from Jeff Westlake, who says, in your opinion, how do you think the Netflix deal will impact PLEs, both the positive and the negative?
I think it's going to be positive. I think that, I don't know if Netflix would dictate the level of advertisements that Peacock do, right? People are probably sick of me saying this, but I hate watching a PLE live and having to sit through 15 minutes of pish between matches.
Yeah.
It's like, it's all very well, like, I don't like video packages that much, but I can forgive them because they're usually well made and like most people enjoy them, right? But who the hell wants to see a 10-minute commercial for like Up next on Peacock, it's America's Fattest Hot Dogs.
Or when you're not watching it on Peacock, or we get the weird alternative, it's like, here's a video package on a wrestler who you haven't seen for 3 months. You're like, they're coming back? No, we just pressed random. We're just going to show video footage of Charlotte Flair here for no reason.
Hey, well, January 6th coming up for the Raw relaunch, so they might show a Jackson Riker video package. Who knows? I think that it's going to have a positive impact from that standpoint. I can't imagine Netflix are going to inject it with as many adverts.
Yeah, and the only negative I can foresee, I don't think this is necessarily going to happen because I really think they've worked out this sweet spot with PLEs, is the temptation of just like, well, we're on Netflix, so we can go as long as we want. Let's have 10, 15 matches on a PLE. But this is not the days of we have to kind of boost the numbers for the PLEs and say, all right, less people are watching, but in terms of hours watched, it's a lot longer because we've just stretched out these shows. I don't think that's a concern, but arguably with Netflix just sort of giving them potentially free reign, that could be something that would happen. But I don't think it will. I think, like I say, I think they've worked out now 5, 6, 7 matches at most on their PLEs is a real perfect spot for them.
Another kind of positive, I don't know if it's just my internet connection being rubbish, but I don't think I've ever watched WWE on 4K.
Maybe
properly,
not, no.
Right? Because like on the network, the screen, it's obviously very good quality, but it's, maybe lacking just a bit of sharpness, particularly when there's lots of detail on the screen. But Netflix, if you have a 4K subscription, those PLEs could look incredible, and the TV as well. So
those entrances on me, the Randy Orton one from Berlin was awesome.
So I think it's going to be nothing but positive, unless like they just make the shows 9 hours long.
More cinema on Netflix. Yeah. Absolutely, can't wait to see it.
Booker and Cooker of the Year, I'm told. Yep. Wrestle Holds would like to know, who do you think has more big matches in their pockets, Triple H or Tony Khan?
This is a real tough one because you can automatically think of big matches straight out the gate for AEW just with the new signings that they're bringing. Obviously, Ricochet's just arrived. They're seemingly teasing a Ricochet Ospreay match in the immediate aftermath of All Out. But Triple H is also, I'm going to say Triple H here because he really does book long term with stuff in his mind for 6 months down the line, a year down the line, and the potential now, like, we're not just speculating on, oh my God, when are they going to do, Roman Rock, for example, or Cody CM Punk, and the Cody turn, for example, and the Punk turn opens up a whole nother wave of possibilities for both of those two. I just randomly saw a tweet from the season premiere of Fox last year where they teased Jade Cargill versus Charlotte Flair, and I was like, sign me up for that. Jade obviously potentially down the line going to face Bianca as well, but also the potential of, with the sort of money they've got now, they can just pay for stem cells in every part of your goddamn body. We could get Stone Cold Steve Austin versus CM Punk at the end of the day. So I'm going to say WWE, but AEW are not going to be far behind, and that's the alarm going off for people complaining about me being biased towards WWE.
So there you go. I think that WWE certainly has the biggest matches available, right? They can book The Rock. Like,
and they should.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's going to have Cody, Roman, whatever. They'll probably do both of those.
Yeah.
And they'll be the biggest things in the universe because he's the most famous man alive, pretty much. So, like, I actually agree with you. I think it's probably WWE. But I do think that AEW has lots of these really cool first-time matches.
Yes.
Like, for people like Ricochet who are coming in, they also have the opportunity to open the forbidden door and produce matches that have never been done before with CMLL and New Japan wrestlers. I guess it depends on your definition of the word big, right? Because like something like Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi, that to me is a really big match because it's two people I love and I want to see that pairing. But at the same time, if you're doing it from an objective way and saying big as in terms of mainstream attention and all that stuff, it obviously pales compared to The Rock versus Roman Reigns, right? So I think it's an interesting, multifaceted question. It's a really good question.
And they can run back some matches as well, can't they? They can do, Omega Okada, Omega Ospreay again. So they're not struggling either. And with Ospreay there now, Ricochet, Mercedes Moné, we've only just scratched the surface really with her. Yeah, it's a real exciting time. But like you say, in terms of mega stars, WWE wins this one. Next question comes from Aaron. Where are you?
Legend, by the way.
Shout out to Aaron. She debuted as a face, speaking of Mercedes Moné actually.
Yes.
She debuted as a face, played a tweener, then pivoted to a heel, all with lukewarm reactions at best. Is it time to consider Mercedes Moné's run in AEW an objective failure, or is it still too early?
Yeah, good and bad. Good and bad, I would say. And actually, I kind of enjoy the bad a lot of the time.
Break out the guitar. Not the guitar.
Mayo sucks. Mayo sucks. Where was I going to go with this? Started, debut segment was good.
Yeah.
It's still weird watching her come down to the old ring camp music. That blows my wig off every single time. CEO. The babyface character was not connecting whatsoever. I think it has started working more now that she's leaning into more heelishness, whether or not it's intended or not.
I like having Camille as a heater as well.
Camille, yeah, she's good in the role. I think that the promos feel overly scripted. I know she has a personal writer, which probably contributes to that. They don't feel real or natural to me a lot of the time, but I do still kind of enjoy them because her delivery's all over the place. Like, she's a very expressive person, and that means they're fun. I don't like to be the person who sits here and goes, this person's finished or this person sucks now or whatever. I think there's been a lot of good and bad. I think that the recent pay-per-view matches with Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida are not the shining moments of Mercedes' career.
No, disappointing.
But I think she's one of the finest wrestlers of her generation, and I still think she'll turn it around.
Yeah, it's not necessarily too early to tell, but I think you give it time. I think she'll be absolutely fine. Like you say, I think she's best in the role she's got now, and you could easily, I know, we had disappointing matches, like you say, particularly with Britt Baker at All In, but like, she had that awesome match with Willow, which I really enjoyed, which they helped them kind of work out the kinks of, like, because I was like, for a split second, are you going to try and make Willow Nightingale a heel in all this? But you look now and you just throw out names like Chris Statlander. I know she's a heel right now, but Chris Statlander, or in particular Jamie Hayter, there's something there. It's just getting her feet properly under the table in AEW and working out how this goes. Because like you say, I think more freedom with promos, like you say.
Yeah.
I know you're not everyone's going to be MJF out there, but
just it's a bit scripted at the moment, isn't it? It's a bit artificial feeling, and someone like Toni Storm would be really good as well. So
another name.
There's lots of good options for her. I would like to see a bit of an uptake on the in-ring as well.
Get rid of that bloody finisher. I hate it. It's rubbish.
She did hit a good one at Capital Collision the other week, but that was the first time I've ever seen it look good. So yeah, maybe someone else.
Yeah,
maybe someone else. Maybe call it the insufficient fun, something like that. Why
or
not?
the Jarrett guitar shop with the mini guitar.
Yeah, like a little.
What's it called? Why can't I think of what it's called? Huh?
That
ukulele. Thank you.
Yep.
Get there in the end. I had shillelagh for a split second there. It's definitely not that.
Don't be hitting people over shillelagh. Bring back Finlay.
Seamus will be like, you stealing my gimmick? What's going on?
Let's go to Cole. Cole Trickle. Free. It's half of a 666, so you're thinking about phoning the beast, but you're hanging up halfway through. We'd like to know, at the risk of starting yet another war of the stands, don't worry, it happens with everything. If you had to introduce somebody to professional wrestling today, what company would you have them start watching in hopes of getting them hooked? I have a theory on this, so I'll let you go first.
NXT, obviously NXT. It's the best wrestling show of the week. It caters to people who maybe don't understand wrestling, because you're like, okay, I don't understand wrestling, but I know what a mafia boss looks like, and now that guy's fighting someone. I love NXT, and I try to show it to as much people as possible. I think there should be more people watching NXT. It's just fun, and they do have really good matches. I know I sort of sit here and say, oh, what a load of bollocks they do sometimes, but like, they've got insanely talented people on that roster. You know, Nathan Fraser, the rise of Obafemi, for example.
That's my guy.
Roxanne Perez has just been brilliant for years now, and I'm genuinely surprised she hasn't been called up to the main roster sooner. I keep saying that quite a lot. But yeah, and they've got really good match types as well. The Iron Survivor is my new favourite match type in all of wrestling. The Iron Survivor, thank you for asking. And yeah, it's just for me personally, 2 hours flies by on a Tuesday night, Wednesday morning when I watch that show. Although I can understand, probably better to show them somewhat like Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, I think there's like this. I have two ideas about this. Number one is WWE's probably the most accessible. It's the one that can, brand identity. It's big, it's colorful. It's like paints with quite broad strokes. It's got like names they might recognize showing up every now and then.
John Cena's going to be big next year, obviously. Yeah.
Bret Hart was on telly last night as
Logan
we're recording
Paul,
this.
and as much as we.
But yeah, so that's one way of thinking, but I think you should kind of like consider what kind of stuff this person likes already, this theoretical person, right? So if it's just, you know, if it's someone who's in like a freak like me, who's into really niche, weird stuff, they're probably going to enjoy AEW more.
Yes.
Right? Because it caters more to the whatever gene in your brain attracts you to that kind of thing. AEW caters a little bit more to that. So I would just think about what they're into. But like WWE is just a good catch-all because one, it's like doing an incredible job of serving its audience right now as well. Number two, it's really accessible and easy to get into, and once you're there, if they keep serving you things that you're popping for and things that you like and the crowds are hot, you're going to stick around, aren't you? So,
yeah, exactly. The party atmosphere that you get from these international PLEs in particular, and just, the noise that you get when a Roman Reigns comes out, you just sort of naturally go, this clearly deserves my attention. But as we always say, if you're trying to get someone into wrestling who doesn't like wrestling or doesn't care about wrestling, nothing will ever convince them.
And you know what? If you tune into WWE TV, there's a good chance you will find out your favorite wrestler, and we're going to find out who your favorite wrestler is right now.
Yes, we'll pick someone's new wrestler.
You know, we just did the AEW gimmick, baby. How about the WWE gimmick?
Shout out to Amanda for this.
It's the word bingo. All right, who we going for, brother?
So the key is someone says, I don't really know a lot about wrestling. Whose matches should I watch?
Wait, it's done it again.
You should show them a match featuring Miles Bourne, star of NXT.
Hell yeah. I have got maybe not.
No,
it's Carlito.
No, don't show him that.
Maybe not in 2024.
Maybe not for the last. Josh Briggs.
Well, I watched his N1 and not so good. Let's go. Last one. Last one. Scarlett. She doesn't wrestle. Good.
Right.
This is not going well.
I got two here.
Okay, awesome.
Either a match by. This is actually a good shout. Tank Ledger, one half of Hank and Tank. You cranking my tank? Love those guys in NXT.
Omos doesn't wrestle. Okay, cool. That went well. Thanks, Amanda, for the thing. It's
show
awesome.
them a Cody match. If they don't like that, there's something wrong with them.
Yeah.
Final question today, I think, comes
sir.
from Kuzo. Great question, this. Thank you for this, Kuzo. Who would win a War Games match between the Wrestling Channel and the Gaming Channel?
We beat their ass. Are you kidding me?
I would stomp their faces in.
Yeah, they get wrecked. It wouldn't even be close.
Picture the scene, right? Okay. It's, what is it? Undisputed Era. Can't remember who they were facing. A gaggle of good guys, basically. That classic War Games match. And they go, who's the extra person? Boom. No one comes out. Bobby Fish is like, there's no one coming. Then Simon Miller comes out. We could just take a chill and just stand in the back, because he would destroy every single one of the gaming lot single-handedly, but he's probably too nice. And he's a little bit of a nerd.
Yes.
A little bit of a nerd, that guy.
But as we're the baby faces in all of this
Of
as well, right? We'd obviously have the numerical disadvantage early on.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because we can just put Phil in first. He knows how to take a bump.
Yeah.
And he's wiry, he's evasive.
Yeah.
He might hold them off on his own just by wriggling around. It'd be awesome.
Can we do this, actually? Can we book a
Set
War
up.
Games?
I don't know which one. Who'd be the? I think Scott Tailford would be the toughest member to cope with. I think he's got a bit of chaos in him that would manifest. But we'd win, obviously.
Beating the crap out of Josh Brown and Ewan Patterson. I do that in the office verbally every single day. So bring it on.
Well, I mean, hell of a question to sign off on.
Question.
But thank you for joining us. And if you want to see us metaphorically beat the crap out of the gaming channel. Just spoiled the whole video. Here it is.
Potentially.
Here's a quiz.
Who knows?
Maybe we lost, actually. I don't know. Check it.